If I could get to 5K in my outline by the end of today, that would be amazing, but I do know that outlining words is longer and more time consuming than writing words. In some ways I've made it less complicated, in other ways I've made it more complicated. These are the moments I live for when I'm outlining. There's a lot I don't know, but I'm not scared by what I don't know. Hello and welcome to a new vlog. Welcome if you're new here. Hi, I'm Andrea. Welcome back if you're one of my lovely returning friends. It's great to have you all here. Welcome to episode 4. I'm gonna lose count eventually, I know it, but I believe this is episode 4 of the Project Darkness Diaries. Project Darkness, if you're new here, is my slightly dark-ish paranormal romance, urban fantasy, paranormal romance. I feel like the urban fantasy aspect is probably going to be a little bit stronger than the paranormal romance, but I am blending those genres, so to speak. I don't know what this vlog is going to be. I know that I'm going to be doing some work on Project Darkness. I've got a call in a little over an hour. I'm going to do some co-writing with my friends Becca and Kaylin, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to do some work on it before I jump on with them, and then do some more work while I'm on the call with them. And then after that, I'm going down to Tempe to meet my friend Jess. I think yesterday was romance bookstore day, but my favorite local indie bookstore is doing like a romance book day this whole weekend. So it's like a romance book weekend. So yesterday and today. So we're going today. So if I can get some good progress made on the outline, I might treat myself to a new romance novel. There's a cozy romance that I want to get, but I might also, in keeping with the theme of this vlog, I might also look and see if they've got like a paranormal romance or something, some sort of fantasy romance. But yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a mishmash, I feel like, in this vlog. I don't know that I have the capacity to like give this more of an educational focus. I think it's just going to be me working on my outline and trying to grow my outline. I need to move some other books out of the way. I was just filming a very special reveal, which should have already gone up on my channel. So, because I've told myself to get that one edited before this one. So you can go check out that if you want to see what's happening over in the cozy romance, small town romance side of my projects. Today I'm focusing on Project Darkness. I just feel like that's a safe project for me. I need to start working on my London-based contemporary romance because that's about to be the main project, but I'm not ready to move on to the main project yet. So a day of working on Project Darkness, a day of getting me back into some sort of rhythm and habit of writing and working in Scrivener without it being something that feels like it has any pressure. Sounds really good. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So I need to get Scrivener open and get Project Darkness pulled up and get everything set up on my computer. Oh, I forgot. I've already been working on this. So I need to recap that. Like, what have I done since the last time I talked to you all, because I did work on this last weekend? Yeah, it was last weekend. I worked on this last weekend. It was a very productive day. I was on another call with Becca and Kaylin, and we were doing some co-working or co-writing on our projects. And yeah, I had a good day. I had a really good day. So August got off to a great start. I was working on the outline during that work session, and I ended up getting 1,205 words added to the outline, which is fantastic. So the outline is now up to 3,231 words, 3,231. At the start of that writing session, I had only about half the chapters were outlined up to the point, like up to 100 words or more, and then slightly more than half actually were still like under 100 words. So throughout that writing session or that outlining session, my focus was on getting as many chapters as possible up to at least 100 words or more. This is part of my outlining process. I did a video on that a few years ago. Let me know if you would like a revised outlining video. I feel like my process really hasn't changed, but also I feel like people are less likely to watch things that are more than a year old. So I'd be open to redoing the process. But yeah, so I'm using my normal process of getting all the chapters having like one sentence per chapter. What is the main thing that chapter is going to do? And then increasing from one sentence to like 50 words, and then increasing and then going from 50 to 100 words, and then getting all the chapters up to like 250 words each, and then getting all of them up to 500 words each. And then usually I try to get them all to at least 750 words. 750 to 1,000 is what I aim for per chapter in my outline before I let myself start writing it. So at the end of that outlining session, I had managed to get all but four chapters are up to 100 words or more, and a few of them are over 200 words. So today I think the focus is going to be on getting those remaining 4 chapters all up to 100 words, and then getting anything that's under 250 up to 250. I don't know if I will be able to get everything up to 250 by the end of today, but I'm gonna try. We're gonna see how close we can get. So that is my next step. It's first to get these last few chapters up over 100, and then getting all the chapters from at least 100 up to at least 250, and then we'll see. We'll go from there. But yeah, welcome to another Project Darkness Diaries vlog. Welcome to another outlining vlog. I wish that each of these vlogs could like be moving on to a new stage, but that is not how books get written. This process takes a while, and I am a plotter. I am a die-hard plotter. You will pry my outlines out of my cold, dead, and decomposing hands. I live and die by my outline. My outlines change. They change a lot. I personally I shouldn't feel offended, but I do feel a little bit offended when I hear people say they don't like outlining because it spoils the surprise. I don't know how you're outlining, but when I outline, there are still tons of surprises. And when I don't outline, the surprises I get are usually of the bad variety, whereas when I outline, any surprise is usually a good surprise. So I love outlining. I cannot write my books without my outlines. I mean, I maybe could, it would not be as enjoyable of a process. So I am a serious die-hard outliner, and that means that my outlines do take a while. I will spend a good 2 or 3 months in the outlining stage before I let myself start to write. And this means that my first drafts are messy AF, but structurally fairly sound. There aren't that many structural issues. It's a lot of line editing. It's a lot of just further character development and plot development, but everything as far as the foundation of the story is roughly in the correct place. So my outlines save me a lot of headaches later on in the writing process. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're starting. So we are at 3,200 words. I definitely want to get the outline at least up to 4,000. I don't think I'm going to get up to 5,000 today. Getting up to 5,000 would be great, but if I could get at least, I feel like setting some goals. 4,000 is my minimum. 4,500 is my like stretch goal. 5,000 would be like my wildest dreams. If I could get to 5K in my outline by the end of today, that would be amazing. But I do know that outlining words is longer and more time consuming than writing words. So like words gained in an outlining session are a lot harder to come by. I have to work harder to get those words into an outline, versus I can build up a word count pretty quickly when I'm writing. So 5,000 is probably a bit too ambitious, but we'll see. 4,000, 4,500, 5,000, we'll see where on that range I fall by the end of today. Every chapter except the prologue is over 100 words in the outline. And the prologue is one of the few things from the original first draft that I'm not really going to change that much. I'm going to make it better, I'm going to make it stronger, but the premise that I have for the prologue, it's pretty short, it's not a long prologue. It'll probably only be like a page, maybe like 2 pages, because like the first page of a new chapter is like usually only half a page, so it's not going to be very long. And I'm not gonna, I could just dump that whole thing in there right now, but I'm gonna wait until I start writing it. So I'm leaving it for now. But all the other chapters, including the epilogue, have 100 words or more. I think one of them has exactly 100 words and another has 101 words. I think my next step today, and what I will be working on when my call starts with Becca and Kaylin, I've got about 15 minutes before that. So while I'm working with them, I'm going to try to get some of these other chapters up to 250 words or more. But I have managed to do 425 words. I'm at 3,656 words total in the outline so far. So I do think I can get to 4,000 words in the outline by the end of today. I still think 4,500 is possible. I don't know about 5,000. That probably is pushing it, but it's good to have goals. It's good to have ambitious goals. I'm feeling good working on it. A lot of ideas are coming. When I was working with Kaylin and Becca last week, I had a little like mini revelation about one of the characters, about the main male character. I was just working on one of the chapters and adding things, and I just had the thought in my head, ooh, what if this about the main male character? And I'm like that would change things. That would like add a lot. Like that would be add just a completely different dimension to his character and give me so much more to play with. So I'm running with that. It's another big departure from the original version of the book. In the original version, I had things set one way between the main male character and the villain, and for the new version and just how I'm thinking about the book now, I don't really like the connection I'd written between those two characters in the original version. I just think it muddies the waters and it makes things more complicated than it needs to be, because it's already complicated enough if I don't have it set up that way. But then I was thinking, but if I don't do it that way, then that kind of changes how the main male character and the main female character meet, and like what makes their paths cross. And so in some ways I've made it less complicated, in other ways I've made it more complicated, but I think I like the new more complicated but in a different way kind of version, if that makes sense. Yeah, that was really exciting. That was just like literally like mid typing. I think there's even a moment in some of the B-roll where I could see it like hitting my brain, like, oh, but what if, and if what if, then what if. Just, these are the moments I live for when I'm outlining. It's just, as the story is revealing itself to me, and this is why I say I'm a discovery outliner. I'm not a discovery writer. I am a plotter. We were just talking about this. But there is a huge amount of discovery process in my outlining. In my outline, I am telling myself the full story of the novel in a super condensed format, and in a super condensed package. So I'm telling myself the story in like 15,000 words. And then when I write it, I'll expand those 15,000 words out to, 95,000 words. And it's so much fun. it's just so much fun discovering the story in that process. It's also why, and if you watch my outlining video and how I outline in Scrivener, I kind of talk through this in more detail, but it's why I don't follow a strict alphanumeric outline. I'm not using different levels of indentation and capital Roman numeral 1, capital letter A, Arabic numeral 1, lowercase letter A, and then I think it can also go like all the way down to like lowercase Roman numerals and like that strict indentation and all. Like that was just too complicated. The indentations do my head in. If you then have to move something from one level of indentation to a different level of indentation by like making it a new scene instead of an element in an existing scene or something, your formatting will get complicated and messy very, very quickly. I have learned this in my original outlines for both A Brave Start and the original outline for this book. When I first started writing, that form of outlining was the only form I knew. And so that's what I did. And so my earliest outlines for A Brave Start and my earliest outlines for Project Darkness are in that very strict, very rigid alphanumeric outline style. And as I've grown and evolved as a writer, I just have learned like there's multiple different ways that you can format and do and structure and outline. And so I just do blocks of paragraphs. So every scene is just a paragraph of like narrative summary of what that scene is going to be. And I've seen people who do outlines kind of similar to me, but it's still a lot more rigid in that every scene has an inciting incident and like every scene has its own like little mini plot arc. And each scene has a goal and something specific it's supposed to do, and it's almost like this worksheet style that they fill out for each scene. And like that's great if that works for you. I think that also is a bit too restrictive for me. So I just have like, if I could show you, which I can't because spoilers, but like I'm looking at chapter 2 and I've got a paragraph of narrative summary, a line of the characters go back to their office, a paragraph of narrative summary with the label inciting incident, so just expanding on the inciting incident and like things I want to make sure I'm doing with that. And then there's another paragraph for a scene. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like format in bold like the first line of one of these blocks of paragraphs. So just something that as I'm scrolling through the outline really quickly, I can see something that hints at the character in the scene, hints at the location of the scene or the main point of that scene, so that as I'm like scrolling through this quickly, I can kind of see those really important bits jump out. Moral of the story: there's no one way to outline. And if you are wanting to outline but you are scared by the seeming rigidity and restrictiveness of a like strict, formal, traditional alphanumeric outline, then don't do that. You can just have bullet points. You can just have random paragraphs per page for each chapter. Just brain dump whatever you think is going to happen in that chapter. So when this outline is done, I will have approximately 15,000 words is what I'm aiming towards. I will have approximately 15,000 words of the story being told in narrative summary, in like fragmented sentences, half-formed ideas, just to show you, not show you, but introduce so-and-so as a character. He's adjective and adjective. So-and-so seems this way towards him. So-and-so feels this way towards him. For this character, it's like this kind of feeling is how she feels towards him. This other character seems to sense something as if they realize that something isn't quite right. So like it's half sentences, it's half ideas all grouped together in a paragraph. But like by taking this this one paragraph will end up being several paragraphs and several lines of dialogue and will expand out significantly. So like this paragraph is 87 words in the finished first draft of this scene. That's probably going to end up being at least 500 words, probably. So that's a little bit more of like my outlining method. But I think I'm just about due to jump on this call. So I'm going to get ready for that. I'm very excited to see the girls and work on our projects. And yeah, I think between my 2 sprints, hopefully we'll do 2 sprints today. So I'm hoping between my 2 sprints with them, I got 425 words done in 20 minutes. So if we do manage to do 2 more 25-minute sessions, I might be able to get all the way up to 4,500, and I would be really, really happy with that, because then I might come home after the bookshop today and do a little bit more, but we'll see. Anyway, that's where we're at. That's where the outlining has gotten to. I'm feeling really good about it. I'm making progress. I'm excited. I feel like I've hit a good milestone of every chapter is now up to at least 100 words, and I feel good about some of the scenes that are starting to come together. So I think I'm gonna go back up to chapter 1, which is at 159 words. Chapter 2 is already over 250, so I'll skip over that, but I'm just gonna start at chapter 1 and work my way down and getting all the chapters that are under 250 words up to 250 words. Hello, how are you? Okay, well, I blew past my my minimum goal, and I've gone past my would really be nice goal. I'm not quite to my like wildest dreams goal. So I have managed to do 1,518 words so far today in this outline. The outline is now up to 4,749 words, so I'm only about 250 words away from 5K in the outline. So I'm really tempted to do some more work on this, either at the bookstore, if I have some time before Jess gets there. But the first 11 chapters, chapter 1 through 11, are all now over 250 words per chapter. But yeah, it's coming along. And I was talking with the girls on our call and giving them the update, and one of the things that came up was I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to outline this as much as I normally do. I might only get this up to like 500 words per chapter, and that might be enough. Because like there's one chapter, chapter 9, where like I've made a note in here to use most of the original version, but do some minor edits to the original version to just make it match the new direction the book is going. But for the most part, chapter 9 is one of the chapters that's not really changing much from its original version. Like it's one of the few chapters and one of the key moments that I know I got pretty close to what it needs to be in that original first draft. So I don't know how useful it is for me to continue outlining that one. And so like chapter 9 is at 278 words in the outline so far. I don't know that I need to outline any more than that, because I know what this needs to be. I'm gonna get everything up to 250. I'm gonna read through the outline in order, because as I'm doing this, I'm kind of bouncing around a lot from one chapter to the next, and it's very fluid. It's not very linear. It just, everything kind of, my brain moves back and forth and bounces between one chapter and the next, and it goes backwards and forwards and forwards and backwards throughout the manuscript when I'm outlining. So I don't know. I'm starting to feel like I don't think I need to outline this to the same level that I do for a book that I'm writing completely from scratch. So like while I have started this outline over from scratch, I'm starting with an idea that I have already drafted. It might be that some of these chapters I do let myself outline a little bit more, but one of the things that also came up in the call is I'm starting to feel like I'm reaching a point where I'll say that they have uncovered a bit more about this or that related to the backstory of one of the key elements of the plot. So I think one of the next times, if not the next time, that I sit down to work on this, I need to go back to my documents and my notes that I have in this file, but also in my Bible file, related to the history and the backstory of past events that are impacting the present moment of this novel. There is a lot of past stuff that like is impacting the present moment of this story, and that backstory slowly gets revealed bit by bit throughout each book in the series. So I need to figure out what is that whole backstory, and I need to like write that out, get that fleshed out, do whatever research I want to do for that and understand that whole part of the story, then figure out how much of that gets revealed in book one, and then of what gets revealed in book one, I need to figure out how and when it gets revealed throughout book one, because I don't want it to all be just one info dump at the end. I want them to be uncovering clues and information and bits of this backstory throughout the entire book. So yeah, like I can just feel that I'm getting to a point where I can no longer like be vague about this in the outline, and I'm not going to be able to be vague about it when I start writing it. So I did include a lot of that backstory in the original version of the first draft. So I need to go back to what I've already written and then edit that and revise that and make that stronger and more engaging and more compelling, and then figure out from there. So it's coming along and I'm having fun. I feel like the last vlog was when I finally started really having fun. Like for the first time, things were clicking, things were working. I was feeling really good about it and I was getting really excited. It didn't scare me anymore, and that it's felt that way again last weekend and this weekend. I'm not scared. I'm not nervous. There's a lot I don't know, but I'm not about the book, but I'm not scared by what I don't know. And I feel like the first couple installments of this series and the first few times I was sitting down to like really work on starting to re-outline the book, I was really scared by what I didn't know. It just felt so overwhelming. But now that I'm like at this stage in the process and I'm rebuilding my outline and I can see it starting to get more developed, I just... yeah, it's exciting. So I think taking some time next time, certainly by the time I get everything up to 250, I'm not going to allow myself to move beyond 250 words per chapter in the outline until I have figured out all the backstory issues. There's backstories related to some of the characters, but there's backstories related to one of the essential elements of the plot and how that is connected to the characters. And so, yeah, I need to figure that out before I can move forward much more than I already have. But I'm excited about that. That should be fun. That's going to be a challenge, and I think that's part of why I've avoided working on this project for so many years, because I knew even back when I wrote the first draft that figuring out that backstory and how everything is connected in this book and in this series, I knew that that was going to be a challenge, but I'm ready for that challenge. So yeah, but I need to get going or I'm going to be late to meet Jess. So I'm going to get everything turned off here and we are going to go brace the heat. I mean, it's only 101. It could be worse. But yeah, let's pop out. Computer's turning off. Let's pop out to changing hands. And let's go look at romance books. Okay, I am home. I had a lovely time at the bookstore. I did not buy any books. I was very good. So I have proven now that I can go to Changing Hands and not buy any books. I was definitely tempted. There were a few books I picked up. There were a few books that I've like added to my list, but I know I'm not in the mood to read them right now, and I just feel like before I buy more new books I need to wait until like it is a book that I am ready to buy. I need to wait until it's a book that I'm ready to buy and read right then, unless I find just like an amazing deal and I can't pass it up. Like there was just nothing that it felt like I definitely want to read this and I want to read it right now, and so I need to buy it right now. It was like, yeah, I think I'd like to read this eventually and I'll go back and buy it then if I really want to. There was I was very tempted, and if they'd had it in a paperback or if they'd had a used copy, I might have gone for it. But basically it was The Scarlet Pimpernel but with vampires, and I was very intrigued. I was very intrigued. So that is definitely on my list. I didn't need new books and I didn't find anything that was enticing enough to get around the rational side of my brain that was telling me you don't need more books. So Jess and I did wander around the bookshop. The romance bookstore thing was cool. I really enjoyed it. I think there might have been more going on yesterday or maybe earlier today. It felt a little bit like we were there like as the party was winding down, kind of a feeling. It seemed like some of the displays were a little bit picked over, so like it's fine. I'm still glad we went. But anyway, after wandering the bookshop and like checking everything out and doing a lot of browsing and picking up books and then putting that back down, we went into Wildflower and we did some writing. I texted Jess as I was on my way out and said, just FYI, I'm gonna bring my laptop. If you want to bring yours, we can maybe do some writing in the cafe after we do some book shopping. And so she did. And so we went and got ourselves a snack and then did some chatting for a while, and like 30 minutes or so we just chatted and caught up, and then we got our laptops out and started writing. And I had a very productive coffee shop writing session. So I'll have already shown you a clip of it, but our final stats for the day: I have managed 2,092 words today, and the outline overall is now at 5,323 words. So I got past 5K in the outline, which is very exciting because I feel like I've only really been building out this outline. I think I started doing some outlining work in episode 2, and then I made a lot of progress in episode 3, and then I did a bit last Sunday, which was the beginning part of this vlog, and then today. So it's really just been in like four sessions, like 4 days of working on it, that I've gotten up to over 5,000 in the outline. I have 4 chapters left that are all under 250 words. So there's one that's at 150, one at 152, one at 187, and one at 101 words. So I need 100 more in those first 2 chapters and 150 more in the other chapters. So that's 350, plus from 187 to 250 is what, like 80 words? So less than 500 words, and I will be to 250 words per chapter throughout the whole manuscript. So I'm going to try to do that next, and then I'm going to take a break from outlining and focus on working on the backstory and the history and the like timeline of events prior to the book starting, because I am realizing that that is something I really need to work on and just like get that kind of more solid in my head. I can obviously keep changing that and evolving that and growing that and expanding on those ideas as I am writing the first draft, but I need to get that a bit more solid in my head before I start writing, because that every time I get to a chapter where I'm like, ooh, they find out something more, or they learn a new bit of the puzzle, or they uncover a new clue, like I have no idea what those are. So I'm just writing in the outline, they learn something new, or they uncover a new clue. If I don't figure that out, but by the time I start writing those chapters, that's going to cause a problem. So I want to get that figured out sooner rather than later. And then I can decide at what point I think I want to start actually rewriting this, because I think I am getting close. So that's very exciting. That's very exciting. So that will probably be the next episode, is working on the backstory and maybe doing some like mood board and like just getting the vibe figured out a little bit more, because that's something else I want to do, is start like a Pinterest board and stuff. So I think doing some research next time would be good. So maybe we can talk about how I research for a book. Actually, I do think that was a topic I was going to do separate from a Project Darkness Diaries. We'll figure it out. Anyway, that is going to wrap up this vlog for now. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate both of those things. Say hi in the comments. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you went out and picked anything up during Romance Bookstore Day or Romance Bookstore Weekend, because I know Changing Hands, that wasn't just a Changing Hands thing, that I think I've seen a few bookstores doing that on Instagram. So let me know if you picked anything up. Let me know your thoughts, I guess, on like the current state of romance and romance trends. Are there trends you're enjoying and things you hope stick around for a while, or are there trends that you'd things that aren't trending right now, like old books that you wish there were more books in that style being written? Or you could also let me know what is your favorite like subgenre or niche of romance. And yeah, I'm gonna go now because it's after 5 o'clock and I need to get comfy and cozy and just relax for the rest of the day. But I will see y'all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!